Okay. Hey y'all. So this is Chris again. Okay, so this video is going out especially to, I think the YouTuber's name is MrCharliesangel. Very wonderful YouTuber person that asked me lots of questions and gave me things to do for some of my past question and answer videos. And I never got back to answering one of the questions that she asked me. I think the very last one she asked me was, how do you put a bus start where there is no bus start? Which is a very interesting question. Um, and I have a couple different things that I thought of to do that. And to answer your question, I am going to use this wonderful blue marker, or dry erase marker, and this interesting little black dry erase marker, and this dry erase board that I got from someone as a present. So I'm going to be using it. Let me put it down here. And I might go back and forth between a piece of paper and that. But anyway, this is where we're going to answer this question to hopefully make it make a little sense, okay? Okay, so we're going to see if we can make this make a little sense. Okay, so you need to make a bus start, basically. So you want to end up with something like this. Okay, so I would think the easiest way to do that would to basically start with something that has a dart in it, whether that dart is up here or down there or at the center. It would be easier to start with something that has a dart. That way you can just pivot it around, because if you start like this, then there has to be, you're going to have to move some stuff around and actually make some space. So hopefully, well, I guess basically you would be starting with something that has some stretch to it, because you can't do it without something that has some stretch to it. So, okay, so this is going to be incredibly difficult. And the only way I can think to do it with just nothing and like a perfectly good blouse, oops, look at there, would be to basically, like to just take your stretch piece of fabric and like to pinch it here. And to kind of create like a little dart that's maybe like something like that. Like those are the stitches, okay? That's the only thing I could think to do to be, so you wouldn't just completely disrupt the order of your garment. But then when you do that, you have to think about the other seam that connects to it still has to fit. Because if you pinch it, the seam is going to be a little too short, like that. So, the only thing I can think to do, now, okay, this would be better done, let me say it this way. This would be better done if you had a blouse that was in stretch fabric that is one of these shirts that just goes straight down. And maybe, you have some boobs in your blouse because, women have boobs in their blouse. And, because of your boobs, we're going to draw some pretend boobs here. Because of your boobs, maybe like the blouse kind of feathers here. We'll draw this here. We'll kind of do that. Ooh, that's not good enough. Do that and do. And does that number. And so it'll do that and have this going down here. But then it also gives you this funny little kind of stuff going on here. And you get this funny edge over on this side because of your blouse. Now, of course, if you have a normal shirt on, we already talked about you can't really change one edge without changing the other. But if you have this problem, it's a little easier to fix this. And if you have this little thing going here, you can pinch out this so that it goes away. And then you can calculate how much you pinched out of the front, because you're going to have to pinch it out of the back. So let's say This is your back here. So let's say you pinched an inch off here. You're going to have to pinch that same inch off in the same spot, but what you're going to do, let's say the inch is here. You're just going to find out where that is, and let's say if you have a pattern, you're going to take that pattern, and this would be much better if you had a pattern, but you're going to take that pattern and you're going to throw it down here into the bottom, the hem of the garment, and it'll be a little easier to control that way. Or you can even throw it here into this side corner, and it might be a little easier to control. But initially, you need to go back to the actual garment, and let's hope that's what you're working with, and look at where the little ruffle finishes. And basically these are stress marks. We'll write this over here. Stress marks. And they tell you where something is, you know, where there's ease at, where something fits too tightly or whatever. So for instance, if you have your back again, and this will be a full garment or a full back, sometimes you'll have these little stretch marks that kind of point like this. And just by looking at it, if this were a real garment, it would almost be telling you that this area, something is too tight in the middle here, and it's pulling, and the edge of the garment is kind of moving up like this, trying to compensate for what's pulling. So what you would do is release these seams over here and kind of move some stuff around in order to make it not pull in the same area, or you would give it some more fabric and then refit it in order to make it fit flatly. So anyway, in the case of this down here, you should have, just like you have this going on in the front area, you should have this also in the back. Some little stress mark or something going on in the back. And so you would figure out where that stops, and where that stops would be your pivot point. And then you would pivot it down to the bottom. So let's say you have the inch like you have here, and let's say you found it stops about there. So you're going to take that and you're going to move it down. Now I have some videos on dart manipulation because this is basically what it is. The front, you're just going to create that dart where it is, but if you pinch it there, you're going to need to make that back equal out, or else one side will be much longer than the other, like how we were saying in this example. One side is much longer because now you have a little dart that you just created. And so now, instead of these meeting, the side you squinched down is now smaller than the first side, okay? So like I said, go watch the dart manipulation video. I'll spell that out here. Dart manipulation, that I have already on my channel. And that will explain how to move your dart from where you don't need it down to where you do need it. And we'll move it down here like I said, or you can also try moving it to this corner and see what it does over there. So I hope that answers your question. I hope this is where you are, because if you're not here, it's going to be very hard to just create a dart out of thin air, because a lot of times if there isn't a dart there, it might not need to be one there. There might not be a need for one. But I know sometimes, like I say with the boobies thing, sometimes like you have boobs and your shirt, of course, doesn't have, your t-shirt is not going to have darts in it, and so it's going to give you this really weird shape going on here, and it'll be pulling away from your boobs, and you have all this funniness going on there. So anyway, rather than you completely mess it up, if this is something you sewed yourself, it'll be a lot easier. But you can also do this. You can also take a pattern and trace it on a piece of paper, like for instance, let me show you this. Okay, so I took a 7-minute break while I was waiting on this video to load, and I completely forgot what I was doing. So after watching one of my other videos, I figured it out. So basically, if you take a big sheet of paper like this, and then you have your shirt, your actual real shirt, you'll fold your shirt in half so that it kind of looks something like this. You'll have that, you'll have this funny business here, and it'll kind of lap like that. You'll have this, and you'll have your shirt. And basically what you'll do is go about tracing. You need to get yourself a tracing wheel, which is one of these things that looks like this, and kind of like that, and it has this wheelie thing, and the wheelie thing has stickly stuff all on the outside. That's a tracing wheel. You're going to use it, and you're going to put some paper behind. You're going to use your little tracing wheel to go all along the edges so you can make a front pattern and do the same thing for a back pattern, and then do the same thing for the sleeve and all the other stuff. So that way you can go back and forth between the real garment and the trace pattern and find out exactly what you need to find out, so you can find out where you need to move your dart and how you can move it and stuff. That's if you don't have a pattern. It's easier if you start it with a pattern and it's a garment that you made yourself and it doesn't fit quite the way you want it, and your boobies are in the way and stuff. But if not, it's cool, whatever. So, but this is how you can do it. You can just trace it, and then it'll be better. So, anyway, I hope this answers your question, and I hope that helps you out, Mr. Charlie Angel Lady Person. So, thank you for watching my videos, and thank everybody else who's watching this too. Bye!